Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Solly Frimpong, and on this channel I document and share my journey to financial freedom and financial independence with you all. So if you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. Please consider subscribing. On this channel I have so much content around how to live a fruitful life on a frugal budget. So if that's of interest to you, like I said, please stick around. Please like, comment and subscribe to my channel. And if you're a returning visitor, thank you so much for coming back, subscriber. It's great to have you here. In today's video, guys, what I wanted to do is really talk about this current pandemic, which has taken the world by storm and has literally turned the world upside down. I think it's important in life sometimes to really sit back and evaluate things and really take lessons from every experience, whether good or bad. And this one, which is particularly bad, it's good to kind of evaluate it and kind of see what you can learn from it and what you can take from it. Obviously there's things beyond our control and there's things that we can't do anything about, but the things that are within our control, I think it's important to do something with it and do something about it. I thought it would be really good in this video to share the lessons that I've learned from COVID-19, and I'm hopeful that some of you guys can learn some of these lessons too, so that we can really grow and become better versions of ourselves moving forward. So without further ado, I'm going to get into these lessons, and if there's any additional ones that you guys have learned so far since all of this has been going on that you want to share, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll definitely reply to them. And it will just be good that we can all share and really learn and grow and develop together. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to get into those things that I've learned. So the first lesson that I've learned is that what we do really impacts other people. So we really have the ability to affect one another in ways beyond our comprehension. So I mean, if we take this whole pandemic and something that started as a virus in China, it's now literally gone global and it's affecting people in countries all over the world. So no man is an island. Like, we're literally all connected and we're all affected by each other's actions. So we need to be mindful of how we treat people, how we do things, and just how we conduct ourselves and how we live our lives. We can't just be so focused on ourselves. We really have to consider other people. Another lesson that this whole pandemic has taught me is the importance and the need to be self-sufficient and be able to do things for ourselves. I saw a meme the other day on Instagram. If I find it, I'll insert it somewhere here, and it was just saying about how girls are going to come out of quarantine basically looking like a mess. So it was things like getting our hairs done, getting our nails done, getting what was the other thing she had on, old eyelashes as well. So all these things that we obviously rely on external people to do for us, we're not going to be able to do it while we're in quarantine. Whereas things like doing our hair, being able to do our own nails and wear mascara, these are things that we should be able to do ourselves without having to rely on people externally to do. That's something that I've definitely learned from this whole experience, is the need to be a lot more self-sufficient and less reliant on other people for things, and just being able to do things for myself and for my family. Another thing that this whole thing has taught us, or taught me anyway, shown me, is the importance of knowing how to cook and make our own food. Like, following on from the point I just made a second ago, it is so important to be able to cook, because now that all the restaurants are closed, there's nowhere to get fast food or ready-made food from. It's important to actually know how to make your own food rather than having to rely on restaurants and fast food places to get your meals. It's better to be able to cook your own food within your own home. So that is a lesson that a lot of people are learning the hard way. I mean, I can cook. I'm not the best cook, but I'm not the worst. So I can cook, and we're going to be able to survive through this, God willing. So it's important to know how to cook. So that is definitely a lesson that a lot of people are probably learning the hard way. So hopefully that's not you, and if it is you, now's the best time to learn. On YouTube there's so many resources to learn how to cook from, so it's important, I think, to take this time to learn. Another lesson is that we are not in control. This thing has really shown how not in control we really are, because we think we're in control of our lives, but this whole pandemic has just shown that we're not in control. We're really leaning on the mercy of God, and we really shouldn't take that for granted. The fact that things can change in the blink of an eye, and that's literally how life is. Like, things can be going one way 1 second, the next minute all hell can break loose. The next minute life can be turned upside down. The next minute you can be thrown a curveball that you never saw coming, and that's literally life. And that's one thing that this thing has really highlighted. Like, we think we're in control, we think the government's in control, but nobody really is. Only God is in control, and we really need to not take that for granted and really need to be prayerful and be mindful of this fact. Change is inevitable. That is one thing that we cannot control. Things are always going to change, and if you can't adapt to change, you'll be left behind. It's human nature not to like change, not to want to change, and not to want to adapt. But in order to grow and become a better version of yourself, you really need to adapt to change. You need to be willing to change, and you really need to embrace change. So that is something that I've definitely learned from this whole thing, and it's definitely something I hope you can learn too. It's important to not procrastinate. It's important not to put things off that you say you're going to do until a later date. Do it when you say you're going to do it, because that time may pass and you may never get the chance to do it. So for example, with me, I had said that I would needed to buy hair because I wanted to get my hair done. I'd wanted to get my hair done just a couple of days before the Prime Minister announced that we were going into lockdown. And like, I knew it was coming. Like, I had an inkling it was going to happen. He was going to make us go into lockdown, but I kept on procrastinating, not going to the hair shop. And lo and behold, a couple of days later, he actually said we're on lockdown. All the hair shops now closed. There's nowhere for me to buy hair from. Everything is closed down, and I ended up having to buy the hair on Amazon for triple the price, all because I procrastinated. So that's a big lesson for me. It's like, if you're going to do something, Tolu, do it when you say you're going to do it, and don't put it off to later, because number one, later isn't even promised to you, and number two, you're going to end up paying more for it because you procrastinated. Another thing that this thing has highlighted to me is that I'm capable of doing a lot more than I give myself credit for, and I could do a lot more than I believe that I could do. So for example, with this whole homeschooling thing, which has now been imposed on us, I've always said that I could never homeschool my kids. I never thought I had the ability to do it. I didn't think I had the patience to do it. But when it's no longer become an option, it's become a necessity, and I don't have choice, I've actually risen to the challenge. And I know it's only 1 week into it, but so far it's been going well, and the kids have really enjoyed it, and I've actually really enjoyed being their teacher for the week. So it just goes to show that we can do so much more than we put our minds to and than we give ourselves credit for. So this whole experience has really highlighted how little we actually really need to survive, and how much fluff that we actually have in our lives. So when this whole thing first started becoming an issue, and it seemed like it was really starting to take effect in the UK, people were running to the shops, stockpiling and buying out the stores of all the necessities. People were not buying handbags, they weren't buying shoes, they weren't buying designer clothes, they were buying bread, they were buying milk, they were buying eggs, they were buying pasta, they were buying tissue. These are all essentials, and these are the things that we ultimately need to survive. And it just goes to show that we break our backs trying to acquire so much wealth so that we can get all these luxury things, when really and truly those things aren't actually essential. When it comes down to life or death, all we care about is the basic necessities to keep ourselves alive and keep ourselves going. While it's not bad having nice things, and it's not bad pursuing these nice things, it is bad when you over leverage yourself and put yourself at a financial deficit to have all these things, because those big nice cars that you've broken your back to go and buy, it's parked outside on your drive and you can't drive it anywhere right now. So it just goes to show that these things aren't as important as we give them power to be. Like, we put so much importance on all these things, but right now all of us are in the same boat. All of us are on lockdown. All of us are stuck in our houses. So it just goes to show that we don't need as much as we think we need in order to survive and live a fruitful life and live a happy life. So another lesson that I learned is one in hygiene. Like, I do wash my hands obviously when I go to the toilet or if I touch something really dirty, but I'm not really one to wash my hands when I come in and out of the house. But this whole pandemic has really taught me the importance of washing my hands frequently, all the time. So washing my hands for 20 seconds with warm water, I know it just seems like such a basic elementary thing, but it's not something that I did as often as I do now since all of this has happened. So it's something that I will continue to do, and I'll make sure that my children do it as well. So it's been a great lesson that I've learned in just keeping my hands clean and washing them frequently when I come in and out of the house, or when I get on the train and get off the train. Just, yeah, I've been washing my hands so much these days, and it's like, okay, I should have been doing this before. I wasn't, but I am now. The last lesson that I think this whole experience has taught me so far is to really appreciate this planet and really appreciate nature. Like, we actually take it for granted, our freedom, but when it's taken from us, we realize how blessed we are and how privileged we are to actually be free to walk outside and have fresh air and have the greenery and the trees and the parks and the fields and just all the wonders of the world we have to enjoy at our leisure. So let's not take it for granted, let's not abuse it, and let's really look after our planet and look after the world that God has given to us. And it's so funny that now that we've been told we have to stay indoors, all of a sudden we all want to be outdoors, we all want to get out of the house, we all want to go on walks, we all want to go on runs, when ordinarily, like, we can't be bothered to go out and exercise. But now we've been told, oh, you can only go out once a day to exercise. Now everybody wants to go out and exercise. So it just goes to show that we take certain things for granted, but when those privileges are taken away, we realize how important those things really are to us and how much we actually do want and do need them in our lives. That is literally a few of the lessons that I've learned so far since being in quarantine and since being on lockdown and since this whole pandemic has really started to impact on my life and on my family. So these are the things that I've learned, and these are the things that I wanted to share with you guys, and I wanted to get some insight and some input from you guys. Actually, what other lessons have you learned in this time of quarantine and this time of isolation? What things have you learned? What things have you observed? It'll be great to hear what you guys think and what your experience has been so far. So please do leave a comment in the section below and I'll have a read of it and I'll get back to you. And if you have any questions or any comments, anything you want to talk to me about, then please do drop me a DM or an email on my Instagram and I will get back to you. And that's literally it for this video. So thank you so much for watching, and if you like this content, please do like, comment and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you on my next video. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.